What's up, guys? Scott here with Wandering the Wilderness, and just wanted to welcome you back to the trapping series I'm doing on basic trapping for the homestead or prepper. Today, what I thought I would cover, again, going to be primarily a discussion, is I want to talk about lures and baits. Now, if you've never done any kind of trapping, the idea of lures or baits can be quite confusing. So just wanted to simplify that a little bit and show you some things that I use. All right, so first thing I wanted to cover is a lure. A lure is for catching their attention or sparking interest. All right, think of it like this. Have you ever let your dog out, and as soon as it goes outside, it starts sniffing around and it seems to find that one place that another animal used the bathroom in your yard? That urine or feces has caught the attention of that animal and just went straight to that spot. Another way to maybe help understand a lure that came to my mind was a perfume or lotion. As your spouse ever walked by, getting ready for a date or going to town, and they have that lotion or that perfume on, that as they go by, no matter what you're doing, boom, they got your attention from that scent. It's the exact same thing with a lure. The purpose of this can be to get an animal's attention from far away to draw them into the vicinity of where you have set your trap. Now, like I had mentioned, say if you're doing some canine trapping, using an actual urine will draw that canine to that area. Say with a beaver, you might use a food lure that draws them thinking there's some fresh wood there or vegetation, because beaver do eat some vegetation. It might be something like a castor lure. Again, this is from the castor gland of a beaver. They'll secrete an oil or a scent that marks their territory. We also have, well, that's a bait. That's not a bait. An otter lure, same thing. You're drawing in that animal based off of a smell. You're catching their attention and drawing them into the vicinity of where you got your trap. All right. I also have a snake lure, which I've not seen that used a lot, but it kind of smells like a dead mouse. So something to keep in mind. Again, here is a canine call lure. Call lure is going to be further distance. A lot of time is going to have a skunk essence inside of there. And again, another curiosity lure. All of these are going to be for catching their attention, sparking their interest, and bringing them closer to where you have your trap set up. You can do this as well with using something like an oil, like a fish oil or a peanut butter oil. All right, you can catch a lot of critters with peanut butter. All right, just saying. Now to move on to bait. Bait is typically the food they eat. All right, so when you're trapping an animal, one, you're going to want to study that animal. Do your research, find out what they eat, their hours of operation, you know what I mean? Study what you're targeting. That way you're better informed in how to properly bait and trap for them. Another tip that I learned when it comes to bait is meat or sweet. All right, you're basically, what that means is something that is a protein or something that is like a sweet treat. They may not have often in nature, but they would eat. A lot of times people call a coon a trash panda, right? They'll dig around in trash cans and dumpsters in the city, and they'll eat all kinds of things. A lot of wildlife in nature, even though they may be carnivorous as in eating meat, they'll also eat fruits and berries. Those fruits and berries are sweet treats for them. So keep in mind when you're baiting, you can use a meat or a sweet, a protein or a fruit is the kind of the idea of that. A lot of times I will use something like tuna. You can use the oil as the lure. The fish as itself is going to be a bait, but still going to lure it in from the long, strong smell. Great for a variety of wildlife. Peanut butter, again, you can get tons of animals on peanut butter. I even have a peanut butter powder right? You can just mix with a little water, make your own peanut butter. This one is called an Appalicious. It's going to be skunks, groundhogs, coons, a variety of things that are going to eat apples. Now, your predators, the coyotes, the fox, things like that, you're going to want something more like a meat type or a higher protein type lure or bait, I should say. You can use different things like carcasses of animals. You know, say if you're a hunter, some of that scrap meat that you leave on the bone, collect some of that, let it ferment a little bit so that so that smell strengthens, and then you can use that as a bait. There's a lot of ways to make your own baits. This is a good variety of baits that I have used over time. But the main thing that I wanted to drive home is that a lure is to catch their attention or to draw them to that area. The bait is a food that they eat, and the bait's what's really going to bring it home. All right, you might use say a canine lure or a long call lure on a scent post, which is basically just some sort of a stick or something that you can put down on the ground or directly above your trap, that you put the scent on the top so that the wind travels over it, bringing that longer distance and bringing them to that area. Then your trap might be directly underneath, and then you punch a hole for, say, like a foothold set, put that hole in the ground, and the actual bait is there, and then they're going to dig and work for that bait, and in that process get in the trap. It's the same concept. You want to use the baits to draw them to the area, or the lure to draw them to the area, the bait to kind of bring it home and to get that catch. So again, I wanted to really try to break down the difference between a lure and a bait for somebody who's never trapped, give you the tips of a meat versus or meat or sweet of that bait, and give you some ideas of what you can use and how to use them. So hopefully this helps you as a new trapper, or helps you for the homestead, or as a prepper, again, bringing home and reinforcing the importance of storing and having traps and becoming familiar with trapping. So I'm going to continue on this series. Hopefully the next one will get into how or where to do some trap placement. Plan on starting with the cage trap again, and my beginning trapping, I believe it is the easiest and best one to start with. So hopefully that'll be coming in the next episode of this series. So wanted to thank all of you for watching. Hopefully this has helped. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and maybe it'll give me some information on what to do the next video on. So thank you for watching. God bless.